Greetings, hi, TheWarOwl greets you, and Operation Breakout is a go. A dry spell and minor updates are the birthing pains for a major update, and it has just arrived. This is a huge update. There are changes and new features flying all over the place, and I'm going to take this video to specifically talk about the weapon changes, the changes we've all been expecting. There's a lot of stuff, but I'm just going to cover sort of the very important competitive changing weapon stuff. First, the pistols. It seems that to Valve that a balanced game means that all of the weapons in a certain category are used equally. Because this update seems to serve to both buff the weapons that weren't used previously as well as nerf the weapons that were used too much. Or the weapon that was used too much. Before the update I said this: they need to nerf the CZ and buff the Tec-9 so that it is comparable to the 5.7 just for the terrorist side. Well, that's what they did. And how did they do it? First, the CZ75A, the alternate weapon to the P250 fan favorite. There has been public outcry since its release that the weapon was overpowered. It has affected big tournaments and stuff, and honestly, it was a useful weapon. It may have been, yes, a little bit overpowered, but not so much that I think it ruined the game or anything. It had a lot of advantages though. It had a very fast fire rate. You could still tap shoot with it. The only disadvantage being that you only had 2 magazines with it, meaning that you'd run out of ammo very fast. This made it the go-to eco weapon because you could quickly unload a magazine and take out a buying plater, all for the price of 300. That is a huge cost ratio. You use 300 and you take out their 3,000 weapons. So how'd they nerf it? The same way they buffed the other weapons, but in reverse. They increased the inaccuracy while standing and crouched, so while not moving. So basically, they just made the gun, added a little bit more of a randomness factor when you're trying to go for accurate shots at longer and medium distances with it. So now, when spraying with the CZ, you can see how the accuracy is just not there, making it super difficult to control. It's always kind of been this way. It just sort of defines why you should use a CZ or why you should use a P250. It's going to be more situational. So P250 is going to be better for the medium long range tap shooting kind of stuff. Now it seems the automatic option on the weapon would just be useful at very close distances, forcing the player to tap shoot at longer distances. So let's take a look at some of the other weapons, most notably the Deagle. For the Deagle, they did the opposite of the CZ. They improved the accuracy. Notice how the shots at long range are far more accurate now when you're standing completely still, which makes more sense for such a big weapon. It's also sometimes accurate when moving. Of course, this was not changed. This is all the same. This will make 1-Deags very much more viable because now players can turn the corner, stop, take their time, and go for that 1-Deag, and it will be possible. You can really go into the 1-Deag, into the accurate mode, a lot quicker than before. The accuracy does still fall off if you try to shoot too fast, quite heavily, making it a 1-Deag weapon. I don't think you can really control the weapon this well. It's kind of where it needs to be. Just a weapon, a very accurate, very powerful weapon that you can easily lose control of if you fire it too fast, or you're moving around. The dualies were changed by reducing the price to 500. So now the question you have to ask yourself is, do I want a 5.7 or do I want the dualies? They are actually usable weapons. They just used to cost so much that it didn't really make sense to ever purchase them, especially with the alternatives out there like the 5.7 or the Tec-9 and the P250, which cost so much less. Now, I can easily see these being used at the highest level by certain players, those that prefer to fire more bullets. Only on CT side, though. Now, why would I say that? Tec-9 Buff! The Tec-9 accuracy has been buffed for standing and crouching, just like the Deagle, except it was also buffed for movement. What does this mean? Well, it means that you can now accurately fire the Tec-9 while moving. The first shot you shoot with the Tec-9 while you're running, like full out running, not walking, is going to be accurate. If you're good at pressing buttons, And oh my, am I good at pressing buttons. You can fire this thing so fast, and it remains accurate. You can control it very well. So you can strafe out around a corner, fire an accurate shot to your foe, end them with goodness, you know, and then just tap, 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 take out the other guys. It's crazy effective now. The only negative to this weapon is that you need to go for the headshots, otherwise it won't really do that much damage. Also, it isn't very useful at longer distances. However, I have no doubt that folks will label the Tec-9 overpowered now and call for a nerf. We'll see how it pans out in competitive play, and we know Valve will continue to adjust these weapons based on what happens. So don't freak out too soon. Every time they come out with a crazy giant weapon balance update, there's usually going to be a smaller patch to follow that fixes some of the issues that we find. Remember that 2-week period where the Deagle was a perfectly accurate 2-hit body shot? Yeah, I remember that. Remember that 2-week period where the auto shotty was ridiculously overpowered and everybody used it in every match? Yeah, I remember that. Remember that 4-month period where the CZ? Oh, that one took longer. So to recap, CZ is now less accurate when not moving, Deagle is more accurate when not moving, and Tec-9 ruins lives and is more accurate while moving. And dualies cost the same as the Tec-9 and 5.7. Pro tip, the starting CT side pistols are also accurate when moving on the first shot. Use this information wisely. Well, they've covered all the pistols. I don't see why a pistol wouldn't be used now. Like, every single pistol is sort of tweaked to the point where it will be used in some capacity. I don't equate more weapons used, or balance rather between the weapons, to a better game. But it does seem to be Valve's goal in CSGO. Don't get me wrong, I think the changes are good, because they do raise the skill cap and reduce some of the randomness for some of the weapons, as well as prevent the CZ from being too powerful and too overused. The buff on the other pistols, to me, will affect not so much balance, but armor pistol rounds themselves and save rounds. When does it become viable to purchase armor pistol? When does it become viable to purchase armor, purchase a Tec-9, a Deagle, a dually on T side, instead of just doing a full save? It's a risk-reward scenario, and I think it adds a bunch to the game. It also keeps the other team on their toes in case the other team tries something crazy, instead of just assuming that their opponents are saving and saying, oh, they're just not going to have armor, or they're going to be easy, this round's just a throwaway. This adds more variety to competitive gameplay, and we've been seeing that in sort of how the top-level professional game has evolved to a sense where teams aren't just full saving on rounds. If they have some money, they're going to buy. You don't know what your opponent is going to try. It also opens up more variety and strategies beyond just buying. I mean, if you have 3 players on your team who can buy and 2 can't, those 3 buy, and then the other 2 buy armor and buy one of the pistols that is somewhat useful. And then they can pick up a weapon from someone else if it drops, or they can use them in a certain capacity as a magnet, you know, like, oh, let's kill that guy, and then the other guy pops out. All of that stuff. It makes rounds where you don't have money less pointless, and opens it up for more skill-based wins. This may not have been the intention of the devs, but I like it. And yeah, but I do expect the Tec-9 to be nerfed in some capacity. Also, hear me out on this one. Now that the dualies cost the same as the Tec-9 and the 5.7, why are they not interchangeable? I don't see a situation where someone will go, oh, this round I want to use the dualies, and next round, no, that's a 5.7 round, you know? That round needs a 5.7, the clean, cold touch of the 5.7. I don't know. They do the same thing. They're high capacity, high fire rate, accurate pistols that cost 500. They should make them take up the same slot. You got an extra slot there, maybe we can have something new. Now we move on to the shotguns. Oh wait, there was a scout buff. It costs less and it's more accurate. At least Scout's knives will be more entertaining now, I guess, especially with the new butterfly knife. Anyway, shotguns. Mag 7. Penetration power increased. Must avoid childish joke. Whew. Okay, moving on. There are less pellets, but the pellets do more damage each. When you shoot a shotgun, it shoots multiple shots at the same time. I'm talking about how the game works, not IRLs. Since there are less shots being fired, you have less of a chance of hitting folks at longer distances by just a little bit, like one of them's gonna graze them or something. And you have more of a chance of doing some serious damage to folks when your shots do hit them. basically just grazing opponent with a shotgun is no fun. You're in trouble if you do that, because if you fire a shotgun, there's a period of time before you can fire it again, and you're going to be exposed, and you'll give away your position. The maximum range has also been reduced. When you use a shotgun, there is a certain range where it will not do any damage. They are most certainly a very close range weapon and incredibly situational. Mag 7 is a great surprise, I'm right around the corner weapon. For the sawed-off, they did the exact same thing. But the sawed-off has a really low max range to begin with, and you have to be right up next to someone to kill them with the sawed-off. The damage of each pellet has been increased with it, but the spread has increased too. So yeah, more difficult to use. You have to be standing like right next to someone to kill them. I don't expect it to really ever be used though, because surprising a guy really close like that and popping out, that only really works when you have control of the battlefield and can dictate where the engagements happen. CTs can do this because they have the defender's advantage. The terrorists don't really have a choice. They have to be the ones aggressing. So yeah, CTs can set up traps. I don't expect the sawed-off to ever be used, but the Mag 7, oh my yes. The auto shotty, the noob tube, the whatever you want to call it. It's now cheaper, and the spread is a little bit less. This makes it more viable. Barely. It does seem to be the favorite buy of bots, though. I never understood that one. But it is now only 200 more than the Mag 7. Maybe it's worth it, especially considering you'll get 900 kill reward for a frag with it. It's only 200 more than the Mag 7. I don't know. Pretty much in every situation, I'd rather have that Mag 7, though. The fire rate is more on the auto shotty, but it just doesn't seem like a good weapon to me. All of the shotguns now have wall penetration now, except the Nova. I don't know, to be successful with a shotgun, you really have to be right on them. So all of the pellets have to hit, or you go for that headshot. When you miss with a shotgun, or you just do half damage to someone, you're in some serious trouble, much like the AWP. And I don't think this will affect anything, to be honest. Again, you don't want to graze your opponent with a shotgun. You want to end them immediately. It's like fighting a charging rhinoceros. You have one shot. You have to hit the tiny little brain in its head. And if you miss, you did. Either way, this update was huge. There's a lot of features floating around. This video is just to cover some of the weapon balance changes, and I really look forward to seeing how these will affect the top level competitive play. I expect there to be so many more Deagles and Tec-9s now for a bit, and I do expect Tec-9 to get more of like a nerf after this buff. But Deagle, to be honest, I like the Deagle where it is right now. I tried it out a bit, got some shots, and I was like, wow, I'm able to one Deag with it, and it's a weapon I've always said Deagle's so bad and just wouldn't use. It costs more for a pistol, but you definitely get more bang with your buck. Farewell. I'm TheWarOwl, and I still have no closer.